I need to tell you a secret about belly fat that most people never learn. Every day, millions of people skip breakfast, delay meals, or try fasting because they believe their body instantly starts burning stubborn belly fat the moment food stops coming in. It sounds simple. Stop eating, burn fat. But deep inside your body, a completely different story is unfolding. A story that begins the second you finish your last bite. At first, your body acts like it has plenty of fuel to spare. Then, hour by hour, hidden switches begin to flip. Hormones start changing. Energy systems begin shifting. Fuel reserves are opened one by one. And somewhere along that timeline, your body finally turns toward the fat it has been storing for weeks, months, or even years. The surprising part is that belly fat is not first in line. In fact, during the early hours of fasting, your body is busy doing several other jobs before it seriously starts tapping into those fat stores. This hidden process is why so many people misunderstand fasting. Some people quit too early because they think it is not working. Others expect dramatic results overnight and become frustrated when the scale barely moves. The truth lies in understanding what happens inside your body hour by hour. Once you understand that timeline, fasting starts to make a lot more sense. What makes this topic even more fascinating is that your body is constantly making decisions without asking for your permission. It decides when to use food. It decides when to use stored sugar. It decides when to protect energy and when to release it. And these decisions follow a precise biological sequence that has been shaped over thousands of years of human evolution. Long before supermarkets, food delivery apps, and refrigerators existed, the human body developed an incredible survival system. It learned how to function when food was plentiful and how to survive when food was scarce. That ancient system still exists inside you today. Every fast activates it. Every hour without food pushes your body a little further along this metabolic journey. What begins as a simple gap between meals slowly becomes a chain reaction that affects insulin, blood sugar, stored glycogen, fat cells, hunger signals, energy production, and even brain function. Most people only focus on the outside. They look at their waistline, they look at the mirror, they look at the number on the scale. But the real action is happening where no one can see it. During this video, we are going to follow your body step by step through a typical fast. Not day by day, not week by week, hour by hour. You will discover what happens during the first few hours after your last meal. You will learn why your body continues relying on food even when you think fasting has already started. You will see how stored sugar becomes the next source of fuel. You will learn when insulin levels begin falling and why that matters so much for fat loss. You will discover the point where fat burning starts increasing and what role belly fat actually plays in this process. We will also uncover one of the biggest myths surrounding fasting, a myth that causes countless people to misunderstand how fat loss really works. Along the way, you will learn why some people feel hungry during certain stages of fasting, why others suddenly experience steady energy, and why the body's relationship with stored fat is far more complex than most fitness advice suggests. There is another reason to stay until the end. Many people know that fasting can help with weight loss, but very few understand the difference between losing weight and losing belly fat. Those two things are not always the same. Your body stores fat in different places and for different reasons. Some fat sits just under the skin. Other fat hides deeper inside the abdomen around important organs. Understanding how fasting interacts with these different fat stores can completely change the way you view your progress. By the end of this video, you will know why timing matters, why patience matters, and why the body's fat-burning process cannot be rushed, no matter how badly people want quick results. You will also learn why some fasting strategies work better than others, and why the body's response to fasting is often more intelligent than people realize. The deeper we go into this timeline, the more surprising the story becomes. What starts as a simple decision not to eat gradually transforms into a remarkable biological shift. Energy sources change, hormones change, priorities change. Your body begins moving through different stages, each one preparing for the next. Every hour serves a purpose. Every phase reveals another piece of the puzzle. And once you see how these pieces fit together, many of the confusing claims surrounding fasting suddenly become much easier to understand. The science is fascinating, the process is powerful, and the truth is often very different from what social media headlines would have you believe. So stay with us as we uncover the complete timeline of what really happens to your belly fat when you fast. From the moment your last meal is finished to the stages where stored fat begins taking center stage, we will break everything down in simple language that anyone can understand. No complicated jargon, no unrealistic promises. Just a clear journey through the hidden processes taking place inside your body every single hour. If you want to understand how fasting actually works, if you want to separate facts from myths, and if you want to know what your body is truly doing behind the scenes, then you are in the right place. Welcome to the channel. If you enjoy learning about health, nutrition, and the science of the human body in a simple and engaging way, make sure to subscribe and join us for more videos. Now, let's begin the journey and see what really happens to your belly fat when you fast. Hour by hour, the moment you finish your last meal, the clock starts ticking. Many people assume that fasting begins with instant fat burning, but your body has a very different plan. During the first few hours after eating, your body is still focused on processing the food you just consumed. Your stomach is breaking food down into smaller particles. Nutrients are moving through your digestive system. Glucose from carbohydrates enters your bloodstream, providing a fresh supply of energy. Because energy is readily available, your body sees no reason to touch its stored fat reserves. From your body's perspective, using incoming food is the easiest and most efficient option. It is like having a full tank of fuel sitting right in front of you. There is no need to open the emergency reserves when plenty of fuel is already available. As glucose enters the bloodstream, blood sugar levels begin to rise. In response, your pancreas releases insulin. This hormone plays a critical role in managing energy. Insulin acts like a traffic controller. It helps move glucose out of the blood and into cells where it can be used or stored. During this period, insulin levels are relatively high because the body is actively dealing with the nutrients from your meal. High insulin levels send a clear signal that energy is abundant. When this signal is present, fat burning remains low because the body prioritizes the fuel that is already circulating. This is one of the biggest misunderstandings about fasting. Many people think belly fat starts disappearing the second they stop eating. In reality, your body is still busy processing the meal you had hours ago. The digestive system does not simply shut off because you decide not to eat another meal. Digestion continues. Nutrients continue moving through the bloodstream. Energy continues flowing into cells. During these early hours, your belly fat is largely untouched because there is no immediate need to access it. The body is designed for efficiency. It always prefers the easiest source of energy first. Food that has recently been eaten is easier to use than stored energy locked away inside fat cells. This is why the first stage of fasting is not really a fat burning stage at all. Instead, it is a continuation of the feeding state. The body is finishing a process that started when you took your last bite. While all of this is happening behind the scenes, most people feel perfectly normal. Energy levels are usually stable. Hunger is often low because nutrients are still being absorbed. Blood sugar remains supported by the meal you recently ate. Everything seems calm on the surface. Yet deep inside, the conditions that will eventually lead to fat burning are slowly beginning to form. As the hours pass, the digestive process gradually starts winding down. The steady flow of nutrients begins slowing. Blood sugar no longer rises the way it did immediately after eating. Insulin begins losing some of its urgency. The body starts preparing for a different phase. This transition does not happen suddenly. It unfolds step by step, hour by hour. The body slowly shifts from relying on incoming energy to relying on stored energy. And that leads to an important question. If your body is not using belly fat yet, then what happens when the food finally runs out? Around 4 to 12 hours after your last meal, the body enters a very different stage. Digestion has slowed significantly. The stream of incoming nutrients is no longer as strong as before. Blood sugar begins returning closer to normal levels. As this happens, insulin starts falling. This change is extremely important because insulin influences how easily the body can access stored energy. While insulin remains high, fat burning stays relatively limited. As insulin decreases, the doors to stored energy slowly begin opening, but even now, your body is not rushing toward belly fat. It still has another fuel source available. That fuel source is glycogen. Glycogen is stored sugar. It is kept mainly in the liver and muscles and serves as a backup energy supply. Think of it as your body's savings account. When food is no longer coming in, glycogen helps fill the gap. The liver now begins releasing glycogen into the bloodstream. This stored sugar helps maintain stable blood glucose levels and provides energy for important organs and tissues. Instead of switching directly from food to fat, your body follows a logical sequence. First food, then glycogen. Only later does fat become a major player. This stage explains why many people do not notice dramatic changes during shorter fasts. The body still has access to glycogen. It is still working with stored carbohydrates. Energy is available. The system is operating exactly as it was designed to operate. During this period, hunger often begins making its first appearance. Interestingly, hunger does not usually increase in a straight line. It tends to arrive in waves. A person may feel hungry for a short period and then notice the feeling fade away. This happens because hunger is influenced by hormones, habits, and meal timing. Sometimes the body expects food simply because it is used to receiving food at certain hours of the day. Many people interpret these hunger waves as signs that their body desperately needs food. In reality, the body is often adapting to the temporary absence of meals. The hunger may feel intense for a few minutes, but it frequently decreases without eating anything at all. Meanwhile, glycogen continues doing its job. The liver keeps releasing stored sugar. Blood sugar remains supported. The body stays functional, yet there is a limit to how long this can continue. Glycogen is not infinite. Every hour that passes uses a little more of these reserves. This is where the story starts becoming truly interesting. The body can rely on glycogen for a while, but eventually, those stores begin shrinking. The backup supply that seems so reliable is actually limited. And once glycogen starts running low, the body needs another solution. That solution begins emerging between roughly 12 and 16 hours of fasting. This is the stage where the metabolic environment starts changing in a way that supports greater fat use. Insulin continues falling. The lower insulin becomes, the easier it is for the body to access stored fat. Fat cells that were previously locked away become more available. A process called lipolysis begins increasing. Lipolysis is the breakdown of stored fat into smaller components that the body can use for energy. This marks an important turning point because the body is no longer relying almost entirely on food or glycogen. It is beginning to tap into another energy reserve. However, this is where many people misunderstand what is happening. Some believe that the moment lipolysis increases, the body suddenly switches into full fat burning mode. The reality is much more gradual. The body does not flip a switch overnight. It slowly adjusts. Multiple fuel sources may still be contributing energy at the same time. Glycogen has not completely disappeared. Fat is not yet the only source of fuel. Instead, the body is entering a transition period. It is testing and expanding its use of stored fat while still using other available resources. The shift resembles a dimmer switch rather than an on-off button. Each passing hour nudges the body further toward fat utilization. During this phase, subtle changes may begin occurring. Some people notice their hunger becoming less intense. Others feel little difference at all. Individual experiences vary because metabolism, activity levels, body composition, and eating habits all influence how fasting feels. The important thing to remember is that the body is becoming increasingly willing to access stored fat. That process is underway. The doors are opening wider. The machinery responsible for breaking down fat is becoming more active. And this is where many people think the magic happens. But the biggest change is still ahead. As the fast moves beyond 16 hours and approaches 24 hours, glycogen stores continue declining. The body's need for an alternative fuel source becomes more urgent. Fat breakdown accelerates. More fatty acids are released from storage. The body becomes increasingly dependent on them for energy production. At the same time, the liver begins producing compounds called ketones. Ketones are created from fat and can serve as an alternative fuel source for many tissues, including parts of the brain. This development is significant because it represents another major adaptation to fasting. The body is not simply running out of fuel, it is changing fuel sources. Many people mistakenly think belly fat receives special treatment during fasting. The body does not look in a mirror and decide which fat appears least attractive. It does not care about appearance. It cares about energy availability. Its goal is survival and efficiency. Fat is stored throughout the body. Some is stored beneath the skin. Some is stored deeper around organs. The body accesses these stores based on complex biological signals. Belly fat often becomes part of the equation because the abdominal area contains substantial energy reserves. As fasting continues, those reserves become increasingly useful. The body begins drawing from stored energy with greater efficiency than before. Fat that once sat quietly in storage starts participating more actively in meeting energy demands. Another fascinating change is taking place during this period. The body is becoming better at using fat. The systems involved in transporting and burning fat are adapting. The longer fasting continues within safe and reasonable limits, the more the body practices using this fuel source. Many people expect energy levels to collapse as fasting progresses. Yet some report a different experience. Instead of feeling weaker, they notice periods of steady focus. This does not happen because they suddenly gained more food. It happens because the body is learning how to operate using a different fuel mix. And the transformation continues. Around 24 hours into a fast, fat has become a major contributor to energy production. Ketone levels continue increasing. Insulin remains relatively low. Stored energy becomes easier to access than it was during the earlier stages of fasting. This stage surprises many people. Hunger does not always continue rising. In some cases, it becomes more manageable. Focus may improve. Energy may feel steadier. These effects occur because the body is adapting to its changing metabolic environment. The body is remarkably flexible. It can operate on food. It can operate on glycogen. It can operate on fat. During fasting, it gradually transitions through these systems instead of relying on only one source. Yet another misunderstanding appears here. People often assume that because fat use is increasing, fasting must be targeting belly fat specifically. That is not exactly how it works. The body draws energy from fat stores throughout the body. It does not selectively remove belly fat first. Fat loss patterns are influenced by genetics, hormones, age, sex, activity levels, and numerous other factors. Still, belly fat occupies an important place in this discussion. Certain types of abdominal fat can be more metabolically active than many people realize. Lower insulin levels and increased fat mobilization can make stored abdominal fat easier to access over time. To understand why this matters, it helps to know that not all belly fat is the same. One type is called subcutaneous fat. This is the fat located just beneath the skin. It is the fat people can often pinch with their fingers. Another type is called visceral fat. This fat sits deeper inside the abdomen around important organs. Unlike subcutaneous fat, visceral fat is strongly linked to health risks when present in excessive amounts. High amounts of visceral fat are associated with metabolic problems, cardiovascular issues, and other health concerns. This distinction is important because reducing visceral fat can provide benefits that go beyond appearance. The conversation is not only about looking leaner, it is also about improving metabolic health. Over time, repeated fasting periods combined with an overall calorie balance that supports fat loss may contribute to reductions in abdominal fat. The key phrase here is over time. Results are built through repeated biological changes, not a single fasting session. This brings us to another question. If fasting encourages conditions that support fat loss, why do some people struggle to lose belly fat at all? One major reason is what happens after the fast ends. Some people consume far more calories than they need once eating resumes. The fasting period may create an energy deficit, but excessive eating afterward can erase that deficit. Sleep is another powerful factor. Poor sleep affects hormones that influence hunger, cravings, and energy balance. Even a well-planned fasting routine can be undermined by chronic sleep deprivation. Stress also plays a significant role. Chronic stress can influence hormone levels in ways that make fat loss more challenging. Many people focus entirely on food while overlooking the effects of stress on their body. Consistency matters as well. One fast rarely transforms a person's body. Fat loss usually results from patterns repeated over weeks and months. The body responds to habits more than isolated events. Unrealistic expectations create another obstacle. Some individuals expect dramatic belly fat reduction after a single fast. When this does not happen, they assume fasting failed. In reality, the body was simply moving through the normal stages of adaptation. The process is slower than many advertisements suggest, but it is also more fascinating. Every fasting period nudges the body through a sequence of metabolic changes. Insulin shifts, glycogen shifts, fat utilization shifts, energy production shifts. Each step lays the foundation for the next one. And as these cycles repeat again and again, the effects begin building over time. After following your body through every stage of fasting, the answer becomes much clearer. Belly fat does not suddenly start burning the moment you stop eating. During the first several hours, your body is still busy using energy from your last meal. Then it turns to stored sugar, carefully using the glycogen reserves it has saved for exactly this purpose. Only when those reserves begin running low does your body start relying more heavily on stored fat for fuel. And even then, the transition is gradual. It happens step by step, hour by hour, as your body adapts to a new source of energy. What makes fasting so fascinating is that it reveals just how intelligent the human body really is. Nothing is random. Every stage has a purpose. Every shift is part of a carefully designed survival system that has helped humans endure periods without food for thousands of years. While many people focus only on the number on the scale, the real story is happening beneath the surface. Hormones are changing, energy pathways are changing, and your body is constantly deciding where to get the fuel it needs next. The biggest takeaway is this. The power of fasting does not come from a single skipped meal or even a single day without food. The real power comes from repetition. It comes from allowing these metabolic changes to happen again and again over time. Small shifts become meaningful results. Consistent habits become visible progress. And understanding the process helps you stay patient when results are not immediate. There is also an important lesson hidden inside this journey. Fat loss is rarely about finding a magic trick. It is about working with your body's natural systems instead of fighting against them. The more you understand what is happening inside your body, the easier it becomes to make smarter decisions and set realistic expectations. And while fasting can be a powerful tool, the timeline you learned today shows that patience matters just as much as the fast itself. The body follows its own schedule. It cannot be rushed, but when given enough time and consistency, it can make remarkable changes. If this video helped you understand fasting in a way you never have before, make sure to support the channel by hitting the like button. It helps more people discover these science-backed health videos. Share this video with friends and family who are curious about fasting and fat loss, because chances are they have heard some of the same myths we covered today. And if you enjoy learning how the human body really works, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss our next deep dive into health, nutrition, fitness, and the hidden science happening inside you every single day. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.